Hello, hello everyone. Stephanie Zima here with Walk It Free, where we heal, connect, and level up. And today I want to talk about scarcity doesn't just drain your bank account. It drains your mental space, your emotional capacity, and your peace. And as a mother of three and an online entrepreneur and somebody with a full-time job, it is near and dear to my heart to talk to you about scarcity, the mental load, and how clear action can actually cause so much peace, right? So when I coach my people, I don't necessarily coach everybody to just hustle harder and do more. What I coach is clarity, alignment, figuring out what is really the next step. So many of us are racing, racing, racing. We have I can't even tell you how many times I see online people talking about their racing thoughts in the morning, their racing thoughts at night. I can see and hear this everywhere. And part of it is because we have so many to-do tabs open, and what drives all of that is a scarcity mindset. The fact that we don't have enough time, enough emotional capacity, enough peace. And I myself, I had to go through this, and I'm still at times going through this. I feel like sometimes we have this expectation that we are supposed to be learning something and being done, so that it's kind of a linear journey, right? And when we are not necessarily making it start to finish, we look at ourselves as a failure. And then often we quit because we didn't make it, right? But I want you to understand today that it's not linear. It's not something where you start and stop and then you're finished. It's something that grows over time. It's something that looks different at all times. And what I hope for you keying into this journey with me is that you are learning to grow through all of these seasons, right? Of life, of business, of everything that we are coming in contact with. Because it's the truth. Like, let's look at business, for example. When you first start, you want to, like, let's say the lead generation, right? They're saying make a list of 100 people. List of 100 people. Your first thought matters, because your first thought might be, I don't have 100 people to talk to. Your first thought might be, I don't have enough time to put down 100 people. Those two are scarcity thoughts. I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough people. Bottom line is, it's a scarcity mindset. When you learn to identify that, to become aware of it, you can solve the problems. If you are not able to be aware of it, you can never solve the problem, and it will rule everything because you will not take the action. You will not sit down and figure out how to put 100 people on your sheet. You will have all kinds of nervous system responses. You will maybe blame your upline, or maybe you will blame somebody else, or maybe you are running away looking for other ways as to how you can recruit your people, how you can have your lead generation. Maybe some of you say, oh, this is all dead. And you see these newsletters everywhere. You see these ads everywhere, like, oh, you're tired of making the list of 100, or you like. It's because what they want is they want to tap into your procrastination mode. Okay. And I, with Walk It Free, happen to not want to do that. I want to help you work with your procrastination mode. I want you to learn how to be aware of your procrastination mode and then use it to your advantage. And that is what I love to do. I love to dive really, really deep, not just in awareness, but now what can we do about it? Okay, so we know, for example, we are not having enough time, and we know that we might say we don't know enough people. Put that on your piece of paper, on a white piece of paper. When you think those thoughts, I don't have enough time, what is the feeling that you're feeling in that moment? Probably some kind of a disappointment, maybe some kind of a anger towards a specific person that should be watching the kids so that you can work, resentment, right? What kind of negative emotion is coming up for you? Think about it. Your scarcity mindset is here, negative emotion is here. And from those two, do you think you're going to be happy? Do you think you have dopamine coming up? Do you think you are going to take the action joyfully and have a good quality of life? Probably not. So, what we need to do here is we need to find relief. We need to find mental load relief. We can understand that many of us are in the situation that we have to do things alone, right? I was in a restaurant with my daughters after the soccer game today, and I observed this many, many tables. There were many families where the mothers were sitting with the children and the fathers were zoned out on their phones. They were not involved. It's a almost common thing. I was in that position as well. Now, we can have the choice of blaming and feeling upset and frustrated all the time, or we can just say it is what it is. This is what we've chosen. This is what we are dealing with right now. How can I reframe? How can I make this mental load for myself? Because that is all we can control. We can control how we personally react, how we personally feel about a situation, right? So when we are saying we don't have enough time, how can we make more time? When you tap into curiosity, when you ask your brain, how can I, instead of I can't, or I can't because they do, or, I'm just going to not do it and quit. It's not meant for me. All these negative thoughts. If you turn that around and say, how can I? Then out of the sudden, you have opportunity. You have opportunity to say, maybe I'm going to go to a play place and let my kids play over there, and I'm going to spend 1 hour or an hour and a half solely focusing on creating a list that I now can work off of, for example, right? Or maybe I let them watch that movie. We put iPads in front of the kids all the time, but we don't do it on purpose. That was one of the things that I actually did when my kids and I were in Germany and we were caring for my sick mom. I was still working throughout that time. So I had my kids, I was caring for my sick mom, I was still doing my work, and I would let them watch a movie, but not for me to rest. It was for me to actually sit down and do what I needed to do. And what I did also was I sat down, focused on what I needed to do, and then I shut it off. See, when you have this mental drain going on all the time, that you're drained, 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 your mental space is, your thoughts are running all the time, you start losing the energy and the capacity. But when you say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate an hour and a half to that specific task, clear action, what happens is you're going to focus and get it done, and then the rest of the time you get to have free. The rest of the time you consciously choose as free time. You can be proud of yourself because you had clear action in a specific task that is compounded eventually to momentum. That's what you want, right? You want to do something little every single day. So if your goal, for example, is to make that list of the 100, don't just dismiss it and say, I don't have time or I don't have anybody to talk to. Just say, I'm going to dedicate 1 hour every day or half an hour or whatever you want to building this list. Maybe it takes you a week. Maybe it takes you 2 days. Maybe you're surprising yourself just how much faster you're going to get it done. Because when you look at it, every single time that we get stressed and anxious about a task, and scarcity will do that to you. You will get stressed and anxious. Every single time we do that, what's going to happen is we over dramatize, we over catastrophize the situation. I get very freaked out when my home is cluttered, when there's stuff everywhere, when there's clothes laying around, when there's toys laying around, when there's like, I just get very, very flustered. I cannot stand it. I have not gotten to the bottom of it yet. it costs me a lot of mental energy when I see a lot of stuff flying around. I don't know if it's something subconscious that I would always get in trouble when it was, or I have no idea. It doesn't matter. It's besides the point, right? We don't want to ruminate in the past. We just want to use the past to be aware of what we've got going on right now. So anyway, this task of I get all stressed out, I over catastrophize. The house is a mess and it's all a mess, and boom, my emotions running wild. When in fact, if we would have just been clear, calm, and focused on the one task that needed to happen, is we could have in 5 minutes everyone pick up something, and 5 minutes later everything would be taken care of. That is the same with everything. If you let scarcity run wild, scarcity will just trigger you over and over and over, and will get you to over catastrophize and panic and have all these negative thoughts, when in fact it's really probably just a tiny little task that you need to do. Okay, so it's really important to recognize just how bad scarcity is. I don't have enough time. How can I make more time? I don't have enough mental space. Who can take something from me? How can I delegate something? What is really needed within this next week? When I'm very, very stressed, when I have a lot of things going on, you know what I do? I literally plan by the 15-minute increments. I do only, and I think about only what I have to do in the next 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And I wrote it all out, and then I literally follow the plan. Sometimes that is the only way how I can control my brain from going into scarcity mode of I don't have enough time, okay? Or being completely shut down by emotional scarcity. I happen to be somebody that over catastrophized very easily, right? Scarcity was something that was very common in my upbringing, and it's my go-to. Every single time I want to say I don't have enough time. And while I do not think that everyone has the same 24 hours, I do believe that we do not have 24, not all of us have the same 24 hours, because some of us have little kids still. Some of us have kids that are needing more attention than others. Some of us have full-time jobs that allow you to do other things, and some of us have full-time jobs that don't allow you to do other things. And it's really, really important to understand that you shouldn't be comparing yourself with anybody else. You should just literally look at what you've got on your plate. What kind of job do you have? What kind of personality do you have? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Okay. Extroverted people, they do not need as much recharge time. They love being with people. Introverted people need to figure out how to have some recharge time without shaming themselves. So when I have a full day of running around with the kids and I sit at night, and you would think, oh man, there's like 3 hours you could work your business, right? I cannot. I personally cannot. Often my brain is done. I can do maybe some things, but I cannot do other things. My brain is completely mush because I've already expended so much emotional capacity before. So if I have those days, see, clarity, clear action is a key here. When I have those days, I need to know what I need to do in that day, and I need to do it in ahead of time. For example, all my content, today Sunday, all my content has been done for next week. I've done that this morning, first thing, right? First thing. I get up and boom, my brain is fresh. I do it, I focus, I write it, I make all the stuff. It's all finished because I know that tonight I am not able to do it. I can do video, I can talk to you right now, but I cannot do this one needs to go here and this needs to be scheduled here and the times and that. I cannot do that in the evening. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. You have to make sure that you get to know yourself. You understand what your scarcity is. Your scarcity is not just money, you guys. It's everything. It's time, it's mental capacity. It is how much time you have to rest, for example. It's your internal safety. If you're not feeling safe, your nervous system will constantly go. You will start freezing, meaning you're procrastinating. You will start fawning, where you hide from people. Often that's my response also, right? I mean, I have multiple different responses depending on the situations. Sometimes I fight for the underdog all the time. I fight, fight, fight. If I see something unjust, I'm the first one that fights. Okay, but I'm also not threatened then. I am actually not, when I'm fighting, I'm not threatening, threatened. I am actually passionate about principles, values, standards. Okay, but if I feel threatened, often I hide, like a fawn. Or I have, for a time, I have blamed, right? Blaming is basically also fighting, but it's a more acceptable way to fight, right? So passive aggressive, it's not, I'm not passive aggressive, but passive aggressiveness is something that people use to regulate their nervous system. But there is a much better way to regulate your nervous system, and that is becoming aware. What is going on for me? What is my thought? How am I feeling about this right now? What dominant emotion am I feeling here? Um, Shame. I want to say probably 80% of you guys' emotions rooted back to shame. If somebody criticizes you, you feel like you're not good enough. All of that is shame. You don't do good enough. Shame. You are not good enough. Shame. The difference between guilt and shame is guilt is I did something wrong, and shame is I am wrong. When you think you are wrong, there's something wrong with you. You are not having enough, capacity. When you think that about yourself, you are not wanting to admit to that. You're not going to want to do something about it. And you know what the end of it is? And this is what I'm telling you in private. Shh, pay attention, right? I'm telling you because you are the one that loses. No one else cares whether or not you go hide. No one else cares whether or not you're hiding that shame that you're feeling. You, though, you're missing out on life. You're missing out on the relief that you can feel when you are finally able to work with your mental load. You are missing out when you take the clear action and you finally get where you want to go and you get momentum. That's what we should have, right? We need to level up in order to get these things and have these things. And you have to start, you have to understand where your shame is. You have to understand that shame is a liar. You are good enough. You are good enough for sure. You just might need some skills. Okay, maybe you need to know, how am I making this list? Where am I going to find those people? Okay, well, in order to find the people, maybe you need more clarity on recognizing who you even need as your people. Maybe, it's not so much finding the right people, but more clarity on who am I to serve? Like, who do I want to help? What kind of customer am I looking for? What is the avatar for this customer? Meaning, is it a is it a woman? Is it a man? Is it a, online entrepreneur? Is it a housewife? Is it a mom? Is it a dad? Like, who am I looking for? And what are their attributes like? And then depending on their attributes, am I the right person to serve them? See, I remember they always, in network marketing, they would always say, like, you need to try to go for the dream teamers, your chicken list. Those are the people you want on your team. See, because they wanted you to be bold enough to talk to those people and ask them. But here's the thing. Those people will never sign for you if you are not a leader. Those people, they may, those people will maybe say, oh, okay, give me that information. And some of you may have gotten lucky, I'm not saying that it isn't, but you have to have some kind of a personality, or you need to have some kind of an upline that you can recruit into. Then if you have a very powerful upline, maybe you can put them in a three-way message, and then boom, that upline can actually recruit them. But I dare to say that if you are somebody that has not developed the identity of a people connector, at least, you are likely not going to recruit that dream teamer simply because they're going to look at you and they're going to say, well, what do you got me to teach? What do you got to teach me? Unless you can show them where they can and how they can and what they can do with the opportunity that you got for them, you need to either grow into that person that can actually do that for them, or you need to find those tools so that they can then use those tools for themselves, right? And you got to package that up in your sales conversation with them. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. It's kind of like a fat person telling a bodybuilder, I can teach you how to lift weights. That bodybuilder is going to look at you and say, what? I don't think so. Like, what? I don't. Nice, thank you. Right? I mean, it's just ridiculous to even think that. That is what it is with the scarcity as well. You've got to learn to know that you're good enough. You got to find out where your shame is hiding, where all the stuff is happening, your scarcity thought, what's emotion they are triggering. Is it fear? Maybe it's not shame. Maybe it's fear. Maybe you are scared. Maybe you're scared to be discovered as a fraud. Maybe, it's rooted in lack of self-awareness or self-belief. But it always comes back down to your identity, and it comes back down to your values and your foundation. So, if you want to learn more about this, that is what we are discussing deeper in the Freedom Mentorship. That's where we are working with your unique businesses, with your unique family situations. And you know what's so different about my program at the Rocket Free is that I teach you not just my system, I teach you to develop your own system. And that is what's different than any other coach out there, any other program, any other upline. I teach you to identify it in your specific life because we all are unique. We all have different thoughts, different feelings, different emotions. And there's so many different ways on how to become this person that can take clear actions, is confident, and creates momentum. We are all different, and momentum for me might look different than momentum for you. So, having said that, feel free to check out the link in the bio to hop into the Freedom Mentorship. If you want 2026 to be your year, you need to have a solid foundation. Yes, eventually you might need to have a different coach to teach you some social media. Maybe you need to have somebody else for whatever funnel things that you want to do or whatever. But everything starts with a super great foundation of personal development and clear actions. Because if you want to spend a ton of money on somebody that teaches you high-powered skills without you having a good, clear foundation, good luck applying those. You're going to waste your money. I know that for fact, okay? You need a solid foundation first. When you know what to do, what your emotions are, what your identity is, what your values are, who you are, what your standard is, who you can help, when you know these kind of things, that's when you can then take your business to the next level. All right. If you have any questions, as usual, please let me know in the comments. Contact me, DM me, talk to me. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you find this valuable, I would really appreciate if you could share it out or tag somebody else that needs to hear all of this. Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.